If you are new to Loop, then start here. In this step-by-step guide, we will break down Loop into 9 simple steps so that your team can stay organized and collaborate effectively. Hi, my name's Amy. Let's nerd out. Loop is Microsoft's collaborative app, and I've been using it since its public preview in 2023. Now, before we dive in, I first wanted to take a moment to show you around the Loop dashboard so that you can be comfortable within the Loop area. Microsoft Loop is organized into workspaces. So we can think of these as areas or projects within your team's organization. And within a workspace, we have pages, subpages, and then another layer of subpages so that you can organize your team's content. On the left navigation, we can minimize our pages and we can also expand the menu. So here we can search for all of our Loop content. We can access our notifications to stay up to date on Loop activity. Here we can locate our recent Loop content. And under meeting notes, this is where we can access our Microsoft Teams meeting notes all in one area. At the bottom, where you can easily toggle between your different workspaces. Now, you'll also notice that we have a My Workspace, and this is where you can organize your personal Loop content. It's also where we can organize our Copilot pages. And if you want to utilize the My Workspace, I have done a whole other tutorial on this, and I'll be sure to link that below. To get back to the Loop homepage, we can simply select the Loop icon on the top left. Now that we are familiar with the Loop dashboard, let's set up our space, starting with the foundation, which is creating a new workspace. So from here, we can update the cover photo, and you can search between various stock images to find something that works for you. You can update that. Then we can also add a name. So at Amy's Animal Shop, we are hosting a Summer Dog Agility series, and this workspace will be to manage those events. We can also add a little emoji, which just adds to the modern feel of Microsoft Loop. Now, if your organization uses sensitivity labels, then we can select those from the drop down here. And moving along, we have Share Your Space. At the time of recording, Microsoft Loop workspaces are not associated with a Microsoft team like other Microsoft apps. So you do have to add individual team members here. However, there is a really great update coming soon from Microsoft, and I will touch on that a little bit more at the end. So once you have added your team members, then we can go and create our workspace. Now, if you want to update any of those parameters that we just set up, then we can navigate back to the home page, hover over the workspace, and select the ellipses. So you will see that we can rename and style, update those sensitivity labels or members. Now, there's one other thing that I recommend doing here. If you are going to be working on this workspace regularly, then you can also favorite it so that it will appear on your bottom left for easy access. We can also use the filter to search for our favorited workspaces from the main homepage. Now that we have set up our workspace, it's time to build the structure with pages and sub-pages. Within this workspace, we want to have an area where we can highlight the location for each of our events. And when we hover over this page title, you'll see that we can once again add an emoji. So I'm just going to select this map here, as well as a cover photo. So this just adds to that fun, minimalistic, and modern design of Microsoft Loop. Now within this location area, this is going to hold all of our content for the different locations. So we can add a subpage by selecting the ellipses and going New Subpage. At the bottom here, you'll notice that we can add templates. So if you want to kickstart your page, then you can easily select a template to get started, or you can view more templates from the template gallery. I'm going to rename this one, and this one will be for our Kelowna location, part of the event series. Next, we are going to add a new page, but this time we are going to hover over the Create New Page, and we will see that a page has been added to the top. So we can add Penticton, and then now here, we can select the page and hold it and drop it within the location area. So now we will see that that has been added as a sub page to the location. If you want to reorder your pages, then we can simply drag and drop to reorder the structure. Now we can add sub pages to add structure for each of these event locations. So here we can go planning. And this time, if we could select this plus icon on the top, we can go link. So here we can now add a web page to link within our Loop Workspace, providing easy access to important resources. Now that we have defined our structure for our Microsoft Loop Workspace, we can now speed things up and move on to one of Microsoft Loop's most powerful tools, which is the / command. In the start typing area, we can press the / key on our keyboard. This brings up a menu similar to a ribbon in our other applications, where we can add general items such as a table. We can add text styles such as headers or templates such as a voting table or Q&A session. There are communication as well as media items, among other things. But the item that I want to walk through with you right now is the table. So I could simply select table, but we can also start to type table to narrow down your search. Now for the first column, we are going to select this and rename it stages. We can add pre-event, during event. We can add a new row and call it post-event. Next, we want to change the column type for the second column. So we can select the dropdown and go change column type. Here, we are going to add a person column. I'm going to call this column organizer. So when we have a people column, we can select within that cell and a people picker will appear. So we can select myself, can select Mike. If you add somebody and they have a little red icon appear like this, then that means that they don't have permissions or they haven't been added as a member to this Loop Workspace. So you just need to click on the plus icon to provide them with access. And one thing that I really like about Loop in particular and the people column is that at the bottom here, we have a little summary of how many items are allocated to that person. So this allows you to easily visualize and distribute work evenly. Now let's add a column for the budget. So we can right click within the table, go insert and go column to the right. Here we can select the drop down. We will add a number and then we can call this column budget. Just delete that. So we can add our budget numbers for these different event stages. And you'll notice at the bottom that we have a sum. And if we select that, then we can even change it to average or count. Let's now move on to some formatting of our content, as this will make it so much easier to navigate. You'll see that I have added some content here that we can apply some formatting to. So since there's no ribbon, what we can do is highlight the text, and then we will see a formatting menu appear at the top. So here I will select H2 to provide a nice header for this table. For this pre-event checklist, we will once again select the text, but this time, if we select the drop-down ellipses and go to headings and lists, then we will see shortcut codes for each of these items. And you'll also notice that there are collapsible headers, which can help clean up long pages. So for this pre-event checklist, we can, instead of selecting heading 2, we can go Control-Alt-2. So I'll click out of here, highlight it again, and go Control-Alt-2. That is how we can quickly add headers to our page. In addition to that, if we want to add a checklist, we can select the text, We can select the ellipses and then go headings and lists. And here we have that checklist along with the corresponding shortcut key if you wish to select that. Then for the contestants, we can highlight the text, select the ellipses, and this time we will simply add a bullet list. So this is a great way for us to quickly format our page. And now that we have these clear headers in here, particularly helpful if you have a big page, is adding a table of contents. So we can press the /, search for table, and add a table of contents. So this allows us to quickly jump to those different sections within our page.
If you'd like a copy of everything that we've covered so far and what's coming next, you can download the full 9-step guide using the link in the description.
Now that we have added formatting to our page, let's move on to task management. So in this example, we can go / and go task list. So a task list is similar to what you will see at the bottom of a Microsoft Teams meeting, and all tasks assigned here will sync with Planner and To Do, providing that seamless integration with those task management applications within the 365 ecosystem. Now that we have learned one of the ways that we can manage tasks within Loop, let's move on to the different ways that we can collaborate with our team members, starting off with Loop components. So Loop components are one of the most powerful features within Microsoft Loop. So let's select this table here, and then we can select this little grid icon on the left and go create Loop component. So this is now going to create a shareable piece that we can now copy and share across another 365 app, such as an email or a Teams chat. So let's add an email to Mike. I'll go new mail. And then now we can paste that Loop component into this email. Let's click send and pop over to Mike's email to see what it looks like. So here I have the email that Mike has just received from me. The My Loop page is in the back. So if I select within this Loop component directly within Mike's email, I can see that Mike is now collaborating with me in real time. And if Mike updates this number, then we will see that that has also updated. So Loop components ensure that you are always working on the most recent and up-to-date content. Another way that we can collaborate with team members is via mentions. So if I press the @ sign and then mention a team member, so Mike is now being notified that I've mentioned him, and the entire Loop page has now been added to this email. So compared to last time where it was just that one particular section, Mike and I can now collaborate on this page together. The final piece of the collaboration section is comments, which allow us to give feedback or ask a question on a specific item within a Loop page. We can comment on various items, such as a specific cell within a Loop table. And if we select that ellipses, then we can go down to new comment, or that shortcut key is Control-Shift-F2. Alternatively, we can select any other text and select the comment bubble. Here, I can once again mention Mike and ask him for any feedback. Similar to what we saw before, Mike will now receive a notification to let him know that I have commented and mentioned him on a Loop page. The next area that I want to cover is how we can create our own custom templates. Earlier, we learned that if we create a new page, then we can select a predefined template that allows us to kickstart our Loop collaboration and also ensures that our pages are consistent throughout an area within a workspace. But if you create your own custom page and want to use that as a template, we can select the ellipses and go Save Page as Template. Here we can select in the title, update the name, and go Save as Template. Then when we create a new page, we can go template gallery, and we'll see our own custom templates at the top. So we can select our template and use template. And as a bonus tip, at the beginning, I had mentioned that Loop Workspaces were not integrated with Microsoft Teams. However, Microsoft is currently working on enabling this feature. So pretty soon we will be able to add a Loop Workspace to a channel, and the membership of that Loop Workspace will be inherited from the team, allowing your team to seamlessly collaborate with Microsoft Loop within the team's dashboard. For more tips on Microsoft Loop, then you can check out this playlist here.